Another Tuesday. Um, I always enjoy these Tuesdays. I'm hoping you guys do too. I tend to look forward to them, to be honest with you. It's always a chance to go ahead and explore something new, to try to do something a little bit different than what we do typically in the training sessions. So this week, what are we going to do? We're going to get into Think and Grow Rich, the classic book by Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. One of my all-time favorites, but not just, it's not going to just be a book review, or we're not just going to kind of look at, even though there will be some of that, the book itself, but I want to see how it applies to what we're doing, how we can incorporate it into day-to-days when we're working with clients, and equally important, when we're working on ourselves within the system. So all of the top, I've said this before, and you would know some of this from when we talked about Think and Grow Rich before, when we did session number 3 on purpose. There's a bit of it, but as you know, I'm a big believer that all of the top speakers, all of the top, I don't know if you want to refer to them as gurus or motivational speakers or personal development coaches. Well, all the top always refer some way, shape, or form back to Think and Grow Rich. Like Tony Robbins talks about it multiple times, gives credit to Napoleon Hill. Same even for the likes of Louise Hayes. She often refers to Think and Grow Rich. Les Brown, Mel Robbins, Brian Tracy, even Oprah. Oprah actually refers quite a bit if you listen to some of her stuff, and Oprah's actually quite good as a speaker, obviously, but as a well, in the area of personal development, I actually think she's got some really good material. But Bob Proctor has made a career out of Think and Grow Rich. For the last 50 years, he's been talking about Think and Grow Rich in a number of his different workshops and seminars and trainings. But again, they all tend to go back to the original as far as Think and Grow Rich. And even if you look at the top, the top personal development books, I don't care who the author is, all the top rated personal development books, either one of two things. They either make reference to Think and Grow Rich, or primarily they're just regurgitating a lot of the stuff, the material that you would find in Think and Grow Rich. So in the unlikely event that you don't really know much about Think and Grow Rich, that's what we kind of want to dedicate this session to today. We're going to get into it a little bit more in depth. I know we talk about it as far as your purpose statement and how we can apply it. But what I want to do today is we want to get into it a little bit more in depth, so you really kind of get your head around the book. And again, I always like to say this, that don't let the title throw you off. Yes, it is all about, the book itself is all about the manifestation of riches. But the principles taught in the book can be applied to literally anything. It can be used as far as your personal development for your relationships, for your health, your growth, and your finances. So again, what I want to do is I want to give you more of an introduction, to more of an enticement, I guess, to go ahead and read the book, but not just read the book, to study the book, because there's some really, really good stuff in there once you get your head around it anyway. But what we're going to do now, we're going to listen to a very short introduction. It's about 3 minutes long. But just for those of you who aren't familiar with Think and Grow Rich, just to give you, I suppose, a general understanding of how it came to play and what it entails. So we'll go ahead, we'll play this quick introduction, and then we'll go ahead and we'll get into it.
At the turn of the 20th century, a young reporter, Napoleon Hill, was given an assignment to interview steel magnate Andrew Carnegie, a man who, despite being an immigrant born into poverty, had become one of the wealthiest people in history. During the fabled encounter, Carnegie asked Hill if he would be willing to dedicate his life to unearthing and documenting the secrets of the most successful people to ever live. Then to share this formula with the world, to give everyone the opportunity to fulfill their dreams and achieve anything they so desire. The young reporter accepted Carnegie's challenge and began a 25-year journey that would lead him to interview many extraordinary people. In 1937, the results of this quest were immortalized in Think and Grow Rich. In it, Hill showed that those who succeed do so irrespective of their circumstance, that potential is not predicated on age, race, education, gender, finances, or any other perceived disadvantage. It ignited a flame of ambition and helped end the Great Depression. 200 million copies and 80 years later, this book continues to inspire ordinary people to extraordinary achievement. It is the playbook through which countless entrepreneurs, innovators, and cultural icons unlock their potential, creating an alternate reality of abundance, purpose, and prosperity.
Okay, so that's quite an introduction. But 200 million copies and growing. Been around for, I think, this stage about 84 years that it's been in publication, but still extremely relevant. And like I say, I don't care who you listen to, who you read, I guarantee you, if you really look at it, a lot of it always goes back to the original teachings in Think and Grow Rich. Some regurgitation of it, but again, and then there's a valid reason for it because it's still very relevant and it works. You know, the principles taught in the book, the 13 principles that we're going to get into, really do work. So we're going to take a little bit more of a look at it in detail, but you would have seen this before, but I always just like to touch base on it, only to let you know again, I suppose, that this is something I've studied for a long time, this particular book. This is an article, again, that you would have seen before, but going back all the way 9 years ago to 2012, the DIY Mind Doctors, where I was featured in an article. But the whole purpose of the article was primarily, for me anyway, was talking about how I used the principles that were taught in Think and Grow Rich to go ahead and relocate my family from the States to the Republic in Ireland and more or less create and design the life that I'm living today. It's something that it even talks about there, if you can see it at the bottom there, it says Think and Grow Rich, where it talks about myself, where I read it at the first age of 21, which is all very true. I don't know if it was exactly 21, but it was definitely in my early 20s when I would have first started studying the book. At the time, I had just started really getting into my sales profession, my career as a salesperson at that stage. And well, I touched on it briefly before, but you know, I didn't come from, well, the best upbringing, as far as I came from one of the more economically depressed areas of the city. And I always had, you know, I had my skills and I had my strengths and my weaknesses like everybody else, but I really started to excel when I got into the area of sales. And somebody gave me the book, I came across it and I read it and instantly started to go ahead and make progress. So it always stuck with me. And I did study those principles and I've used it several times throughout the years, but always in the aspect, usually of business, up until the last 9, 10 years anyway. Always in the area of business was my primary focus. But what I want to do is I want to take a look at the book now in more detail. And we want to go through it to make a determination. Can we apply the teachings here to our system? I believe we can. As a matter of fact, I know we can because we all do it right now. But this right here is a listing of the different chapters. There's 15 different chapters in the book. And we're going to go through some of the highlights of them. But primarily, I believe each and every chapter can be applied to the principles that we're teaching right now in our system, in our network. As far as chapter 1, thoughts are things, absolutely positively, we can go ahead and we do again, incorporated into our system, what we're doing on a daily basis. Desire, faith, auto suggestion. You guys know how I feel about auto suggestion and about the power of repetition as well, saying things over and over and over again and saying it, mixing in emotion. Definitely auto suggestion, we work into it. Specialized knowledge, imagination, organized planning, decision making, persistence, the power of the mastermind. That's a really good one that we need to actually focus in a little bit more strongly in. Um, Chapter 11, the mystery of sex transmutation. Yeah, that's one that I don't really incorporate as much into. And truth be told, it's not because it's about sex or anything else. It's more because it was written in a different generation. It was definitely a man's world back then when Napoleon Hill wrote this book. You could see it in a lot of the different chapters if you really study it. So that's one that I don't really incorporate. It's a little bit creepy, actually. I think, like, Napoleon Hill. I don't know. He had sex on the brain, but as far as the rest of the chapters, the subconscious mind, the brain, the sixth sense, and the sixth ghost of fear, they can all be applied to not only your daily lives, but they can all be incorporated some way, shape, or form into what we're studying here, into what we're implementing with ourselves, and equally important with our clients. So, what are some of the things that I took away? Well, first off, in the very opening words of the book, Napoleon Hill talks about a secret. He refers to it, he says it here in the very beginning. In every single chapter, he'll talk about a secret. He mentions the word secret or talks about the secret over 100 times throughout the book. And because he mentions the word secret and talks about the secret so often, well, a lot of people, what they do is they tend to associate the book, The Law of Attraction, about the book The Secret, thinking that it originated with Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, and there's no question about it. A lot of what is included in The Secret comes from Napoleon Hill, but it's not necessarily the same, and it's definitely not necessarily the same as far as to what Napoleon Hill was referring to. When he's referring to The Secret, he more or less puts a challenge to the reader to go ahead and discover the secret themselves. That's why he makes mention of it so many times, so you can start to be very aware of it. And when it kind of jumps out at you, you'll know it. So I'm not going to share with you the secret at this stage. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put a challenge to you. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to ask you to primarily read the book in your own good time. And you tell me, and if some of you have already read the book, I know if many of you out there have already read the book. You tell me, what do you think the secret that he's referring to is? Is it the law of attraction? Is it, that thoughts are things? Is it all about the subconscious mind, or is it about the power of repetition, auto suggestion? What is it about desire? All those things that he talks about in the books. What do you think that the true secret that Napoleon Hill is referring to in the book? I'd be really interested to go ahead and have a discussion with anybody who wants to have a discussion about it, but I'd like to hear your ideas. So if you have read the book, go ahead, drop me a message and let me know what you think the secret is. And don't just try to look it up online. Try to discover it for yourself. Try to go ahead and really research the book. And, and again, it's not an easy read. It is 80 some odd years old. Keep that in mind. And it was a different generation. It was a different world back then. But see if you can discover what you believe the secret is. And I'd be happy to discuss it with you. I've got my interpretation after studying it of what I believe that the secret to the book is. But I'd be interested to know what yours is. So, what are some of the top things? Because obviously, I don't want to. We don't want to devote the next few sessions to reviewing the book because there's a lot of material in this book. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to challenge you to go ahead and read the book. We're going to go ahead and get into it a little bit more detail, but I'm going to tell you my top list, the things that, well, that I took away that really resonated with me from the book. And again, how I think that they kind of can be incorporated into what we're doing here, and how I try my best anyway to go ahead and incorporate them into my day-to-day life. Don't always succeed, but more times than not, I will. So the very first chapter, thoughts are things. You know, he starts out by saying, truly, thoughts are things, and powerful things at that, when they are mixed with definiteness of purpose, persistence, and a burning desire for their translation into riches or other material objects. That's an important statement. That the last few words there, other material objects. It's not even so much material, but again, he's trying to explain there, in my opinion, that yes, you can use these. This is all designed for acquiring riches, money. Um, but again, it doesn't have to be about only that. You can use the principle taught in this book, and you can use your thoughts to primarily make anything manifest. And it's not about only the law of attraction. It's going to require a number of other things. That's why he even puts in there, with, a definiteness of purpose, persistence. That persistence comes down to the daily consistent action and the burning desire. All of those things put together, you can manifest anything, whether it be money, good relationships, proper health, you know, some form of personal growth, or your finances. But to me, it's all about mindset. That's one of the things that I really take away from the principles taught in this book about the power of maintaining a proper mindset. So that's critical, guys. Really, really important. That it's like managing your emotional states to a degree. It's about controlling your mindset. Like we've talked about that several times through the teachings of Tony Robbins, for an example, how important it is to manage your emotional state. But again, that's your mindset. But he goes on to say, our only limitations are those we set up in our own mind. So true. We tend to set limits on what we can really achieve. And not just in money, in finances, in all areas of our life. We tend to put these limitations based on our past experiences, our standards, and our limiting beliefs as far as what we can achieve. You know, he also says, whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can achieve. And truer words never spoke. I do believe that. Doesn't mean it doesn't require work. It doesn't mean it doesn't require action, like you only have to think it. But again, when you mix everything together and you add in persistence and desire and all the other ingredients that we're going to get into in the book, from the book here, you truly can achieve anything. I don't care what levels you want to set for yourself in your health, your relationships, you can have them. Your clients can have them. It's going to require work. It's going to require persistence. But again, you can basically achieve anything. The only thing stopping you is the limitations that you set on yourself. But that's why when we work with the system, how we incorporate this into our system, we tend to focus on what do you want in those areas. And again, We always start from where we are with ourselves and with our clients, but we don't limit it to that. We don't limit it to that long term. That's just your starting point. You've heard me say on numerous occasions, you know, life will pay whatever you desire, but it always requires you pay up front and you pay in full and you pay in advance. Well, that's what he's primarily getting to here. You can have whatever you want. There are no limitations, only the ones that you set on yourself. But again, this comes down to when you're working with a client, when you're working with the system, you start from where you are, but we're always focused on the next stage. Where are we going? So that's the first thing, is the mindset. The next is the power of desire. Desire is a strong thing. Desire can go ahead and give you the drive, the motivation to do remarkable, amazing things if you have a strong enough desire. Napoleon Hill talks about the starting point of all achievement is desire. Keep this constantly in mind. Weak desires bring weak results, just as a small fire makes a small amount of heat. So again, fuel your desire to want to improve your relationships, your health, all those key areas, and your finances. Your desire primarily is going to give you that drive. It is going to give you the motivation, but it requires fuel. You have to feed it. You have to grow it. And how we're going to do that, how I suggest you do that, is with your why, your purpose statement. If you have a big enough why you're doing something, why you're taking action, why you're moving in a particular area, that will fuel your desire, I promise you. But again, just like Napoleon Hill talks about, small desire is going to produce small results. You have to go ahead and you have to really build that desire to have those relationships, to have that health, to grow in those areas, and to get your finances in order. All of this gets tied into our system. The next is faith. He talks a lot about the power of faith. And there's a valid reason he does that, because it's critical. Faith or belief is primarily going to determine how much action you're willing to take, what type of actions, and how persistent you're going to be. He talks about faith is a state of mind which can be induced or created by affirmation or repeated instructions to the subconscious mind through the principle of auto-suggestion. So, how are we using this in the power of repetition, the power of auto-suggestion? How are we feeding our subconscious mind to go ahead and, to create faith, belief that we can achieve something? How are we encouraging our clients to do that? Well, we do it with our purpose statement. Now, granted, our purpose statement comes from this book, 100%. But there's a reason, because it works. Your purpose statement, what are you doing? You're using the power of repetition every day. And I want to really make sure that everybody is still utilizing. That's not something you just do for a day or two. Should be something you do on a continuous basis, where you're always focused on that purpose, your reason, what you're trying to achieve. That's how you're going to build through auto suggestion, your faith that you can do it. But again, when you're doing it, what are you supposed to do? You mix in those powerful emotions. You believe that you actually can achieve it. You visualize. You have your vision board. Whatever it takes, to go ahead and build that belief, build that faith that you can achieve what you're looking to. All of these steps are relevant. Each and everything that we're talking about here, included in Think and Grow Rich, it's a recipe. It's primarily just one step after the next. You have to be doing all of these things to maximize the results or to produce the desired result that you're looking for. So, specialized knowledge. Specialized knowledge is a big difference between specialized knowledge and general knowledge. Specialized knowledge primarily is it's directed to one particular area, or you're becoming an expert in one particular field. Now, for us, that specialized knowledge, in my opinion, should be all based around personal development. That's why we're working on different strategies, techniques, methods to go ahead and improve what we're doing. We're always trying to introduce new things, new skills, new techniques to you that you can incorporate into your training, into your sessions with the clients, and into your own personal development as well. But that's why we do these trainings. That's what these trainings are all about. That's how we incorporate specialized knowledge into our system. You know, there's a reason why we continuously always be trying to learn new skills. Like some of you here are at the point that you already established joint venture partners. You know, there's some people listening right now, they've been doing this for 12, 14 months, whatever the case may be. And you've been doing it consistently. And you still show up for these trainings every single week. You're getting more knowledge. There's some of you that are at the earlier stages, and that's fine too. But the trainings will continue. Just like if you log on to our membership area now, I hope everybody is taking advantage of that. There's a lot of material, a lot of specialized knowledge is all hosted on that membership section. We've got right now, I don't remember the last count, but I think there's over 35 hours worth of recorded material. I think actually probably a lot more, but at least 35 hours of recorded material on that membership site when you get to the, to the joint venture partner level. And there's going to be continuous new trainings like this training right now. The reason we record these, well, so we can share them with others, but also too, so we can go ahead and put them up on the membership area to share them for future people coming up behind will get access to it. But that's why I'll always continue to do these trainings week in, week out, providing you with specialized knowledge and myself, because I'm not sure if I make it clear, but I learn by doing. I get just as much out of these trainings as everybody else does, even though I might be the one creating them and be presenting them. But again, I get a lot. It's equally, if not more, than everybody else out there. But before we move on from the trainings, I just want to say one more time, and I've said it before, the trainings don't always have to be from me. I would really encourage anybody out there with any specialized knowledge that we can incorporate into our system that feels comfortable enough. And again, this is always a safe area, guys. No one's going to go ahead and be harsh with you or judge you or anything else. You get up, you do the best that you can. But again, I would really encourage anybody who wants to come on and do a training to reach out to me. Let's put together a training on a topic that we believe will be a good fit for the group, some specialized knowledge that can be incorporated into our system and get it up there. And let's give you some practice. Let's get you out there presenting. So, organized planning, another topic, a whole chapter devoted to it in Think and Grow Rich. But organized planning is critical. Knowledge is only potential power. It becomes power only when and if it is organized into a definite plans of action and directed to a definite end. So, how are we going ahead and how do we incorporate organized planning into our system? Well, let's think about it. We're always trying to do goal setting on a monthly basis with our clients and ourselves and a plan to achieve it. We do quarterly reviews and we do annual reviews. We're always trying to organize things in such a way that we have a plan. You heard me say it many times, a plan to bridge that gap from where you are now to where you want to be. So that's part of the way that we do, but there's so many ways that we do organized planning around everything, as far as the dashboard, as far as the workshops, as far as the training sessions. Everything is incorporated to some bigger part of an overall plan. So again, organized planning, really important and incorporated into everything we're doing here. Persistence. This is probably one of the most important elements, I believe, in Think and Grow Rich, the power of persistence. And it's part of I don't want to say an issue I have with books like about law of attraction or The Secret, but they don't talk enough about it. And they don't talk about that action that's going to be required and how no matter how many times, you don't seem to be making the progress, you just persist and keep going. But Napoleon Hill says in the book, failure cannot cope with persistence. And that's true. I guarantee you, if you're persistent enough, you will succeed. It doesn't matter who you are, what your goal is, or what you're hoping to achieve. You will achieve it if you're persistent. It doesn't matter where you're starting from and where you want to go. If you have enough time, you'll get there. If you don't quit, if you're just persistent with your goal setting and moving forward with your action, it all comes down to this. And you guys are you're probably all sick of hearing me say it because I've said it so many times. But it all comes down to that consistent daily action. The only 100% surefire method I know for success is daily consistent action. So how do we incorporate that into our system? Well, I think it's relatively obvious, and excuse me for 1 second. Thank you. I think it's relatively obvious, but we incorporate consistent daily action through our tracking, through the actions we're taking in each one of those key areas. And that's part of our orchestrated planning as well. But that daily consistent action, that persistence, that's how you're going to go ahead and you're going to achieve those results, by monitoring, by being aware, and taking that daily consistent action. So that's how we have it incorporated into our system. And a big push on the power of the mastermind. Something that we really all should become a lot more aware of. And I'm glad to I see some of the individuals in the organization and the network here are kind of breaking away and starting their own little mastermind groups. which is awesome. I love that. I really, really love that because, again, the mastermind principle is one of the key principles taught in Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And it is so powerful. But he talks about no two minds ever come together without thereby creating a third, invisible, intangible force, which may be likened to a third mind or the mastermind. So basically, when two minds, two individuals get together and they have a common purpose and a common objective and they work in perfect harmony, well, a third mind is always formed. And that's why when you have mastermind meetings, well, you'll always find that if it's a productive one, and it doesn't happen every time, but almost it should happen, that somebody will say something which will spark off a thought in you that you'll go ahead and you'll feed into it and you'll add on to it, which will spark another thought in that individual. And all of a sudden you come up with this amazing idea, this brilliant concept that neither one of you could have ever come up with on your own. That's the power of the mastermind principle. That's the third mind that Napoleon Hill is referring to here when he speaks about the power of the mastermind. So, how do we do it? How do we incorporate the mastermind principle into what we're doing? Well, as you know, we go ahead and we have weekly one-to-ones with our clients. We review the dashboard, but what is it really? It's an opportunity for a mastermind meeting. It's two minds coming together, working in harmony with a common objective. Your common objective should be focused on that client, getting that client the results that they're looking for. The client has a vested interest, and so do you. And you should be working together in perfect harmony in such a way that, when you're coming up with a strategy, if they're having a difficult time getting the results that they're looking for in any of those key areas, whether it be relationship challenge, whether a health challenge, a growth challenge, or financial problem, you should really, really be, again, looking at it as the power of the mastermind and taking your time to go ahead and form that alliance and creating that third mind that can hopefully come up with a solution to whatever challenge that individual is facing. Because again, that's really what we are when it comes down to it. Yes, we're accountability buddies and all these things, but we're solution providers. We help them to get from where they are to where they want to be by providing the tools, the resources, and the solutions to their challenges. So use the power. See those weekly meetings as an opportunity to go ahead and, again, think of it as a mastermind meeting. A mastermind meeting doesn't need to be a big group. Matter of fact, they work more effectively when there's only maybe 3, maximum 4 in a group. You can have a little bit more, but all you really need is 2. And I tell you what, and Napoleon Hill talks about this in his book, the most effective use of a mastermind group is between you and your partner. Whether you're married or you're just, in a relationship. But that's an opportunity to form that mastermind and work in harmony. And the most powerful mastermind groups that have ever been formed is between a man and his wife, a partner and a partner, whatever the case may be. But that is definitely 100% the power of the mastermind in action. When those two people come together in perfect harmony, working for, the same cause, the same objective, well, you're always going to form a third mind if you're doing it in the manner that it's meant to be done. So what are we going to do now? At this stage, well, we've gone through what I found most, valuable from the book and how I believe we incorporated into our system. But what I would like to do now is I'm not going to give you a test, so you don't need to get worried. I shouldn't have really shown this slide in such a way. There's not going to be a test, but we are going to test it. We're going to test the principles taught in Think and Grow Rich. And what I would like to do is I would like to use the principles taught in the book in your area of your finances. Because truthfully, that's what the book was designed for. And again, you can use it for your relationships, you can use it for your health, you can use it for your growth, and I strongly encourage you to, and you're doing it every day with your purpose statement. But let's just take a moment to take a look at that important area of your finances. Because remember, your finances is what's going to fuel all the other key areas. So, but let's take a look at it in the area of your finances and how it applies to OneSource. You're all here primarily to become consultants, to become joint venture partners, if you're not already, to create a business, to create an income from this opportunity. So let's just quickly, and I'm conscious of time, so we're not going to do it, it's not going to be a big goal setting workshop or anything else. But let's quickly, and then you can continue on your own. Let's take a look of how we can use the principles taught in Think and Grow Rich to help, create the financial future that you want from your business. And we're going to use OneSource, but it doesn't have to be. It could be your career. It could be whatever you want it to be. But try to go ahead and put it towards your finances. Because truthfully, like I say, when the book was designed 80 some odd years ago, well, that was the core focus. It was all directed towards your finances. So what's the first step? Well, it's the 6 steps, if you remember, same as we did in the purpose statement, but we're going to do it a little bit different here. What's the exact amount of money you desire to earn from this opportunity? If you're going to be doing it for OneSource, if you have something else in mind, if you want to do it for your career or something else, that's fine. No problem. Use it for whatever you want. But for this example, I'm going to assume that you're using it for the business opportunity here with OneSource. But it's not something we talk enough about because I like to, before we really get into that, I'd like to make sure everybody understands the power behind the system we're using and how you can use it for your own development and how you can create change within yourself and with others. But let's just take that, put it to the side for the moment. That's a byproduct, obviously, of, your business here, your opportunity. Why the majority of you actually connected with us to begin, and not all, but the majority of you connected with us. But do you have a plan? Like, what is the exact amount of money you want to earn in the next, say, 12 months? We'll plan it on 1 year. But how much would you like to be earning working with OneSource in the next 12 months? And again, keep in mind where you are and where you want to go, but be realistic based on what you're prepared to give for it, I suppose. But we'll go through it in the stages. So the first thing, again, you can come back to this as well, put more time into it. But just think about what would you like to really earn with OneSource the next 12 months? Then determine, well, what are you willing to pay? When I talk about pay, I'm not talking about how much money you're prepared to invest. But remember, we always talk about life will give you whatever you want, but you always have to pay that price. You have to pay it in advance and you have to pay it in full. Well, what are you prepared to pay? What are you prepared to do? So if you have something in your mind that you want to be earning, say, 60,000 a year, just for an example, whatever figure you have in your mind, 12 months from now with one source. What are you prepared to pay? What are you prepared to do? Because obviously there's going to be work involved. There's going to be action that you're going to need to take. So put it down on paper and tell yourself, what are you really prepared to give for that amount of money that you want to earn? And again, establish a definite date. Very important. We already have the date. We're saying 12 months, but maybe you need it sooner. Maybe you're not in that much of a rush. I'm suggesting 12 months, but you put whatever date you're comfortable in putting down. But again, be realistic on it. But anything can be achieved. All it requires is that commitment, that consistent, that desire, that specialized knowledge, and that daily consistent action that we've talked about. But we can work out a plan through organized planning. But we can come up with a plan to get you there. But again, there's always going to be that price that needs to be paid. But establish a date. So put down how much you want to make. What are you prepared to give in return for that money? And a date that you want to achieve it by. Then let's create a plan. Let's you and I get together and create that plan. You can do it on your own. That's why you should start immediately. Start writing it down. Start coming up with a plan, what you're prepared to give, what you think you can, do to achieve that. But you have myself always available. Set up, get on my calendar. I'm more than happy to go ahead and spend some time with you. I've done it with many of you before, and I'm willing to continue to do it as much as needed to work with you to get you to where you need to be. You also have your consultant you're working with, your upline joint venture partner or your personal development consultant, wherever you're falling into in your training here. But again, create a definite plan, but take that first step. Don't just, you should never come up with a goal without taking some form of action immediately. Write out that plan and start to take some steps, even if they're small steps, but start to take them immediately. Then, just like you did with your purpose statement, you're going to turn your plan into a statement. And it can be something, my definite major purpose is to acquire 60,000 a year working with one source by the end of July, 2022. In order to achieve this, I'm prepared to give X, Y, and Z and list it out. But again, turn it into a statement, because I think you know what's probably coming next. But once you work it into a statement, go ahead and plan on reading that aloud twice a day. You remember what we talked about with this? Why are you doing that? Auto-suggestion, the power of repetition, programming your subconscious mind. And how are you supposed to read it out loud? Are you supposed to, be timid and just kind of, put no energy into it? And are you supposed to, just kind of whisper it because you're scared somebody's going to hear? Or are you supposed to look in the mirror and you're supposed to see yourself already, in achieving it, living it, making it? Are you supposed to be confident? Are you supposed to be putting in emotion? Remember what we always talk about programming the subconscious mind? What's required there? Emotion, strong, positive, powerful emotion resonates with the subconscious mind. You need to do this. You need to do it out loud twice a day and mix in that emotion if you want it to have the effect. And I know you all want it to have the effect. But I really encourage you to test this. And again, get with me if you need some help. I'm always happy to go ahead and help and assist. But you also have your consultant you're working with, and you have your mastermind. And if you're not in a mastermind and would like to be in one, get in touch. Get in touch with me, get in touch with your consultant, see who you can get hooked up with. Get 2 to 3 together and form your own little mastermind groups. Really powerful thing. Try to keep them small enough though. I don't want to have just one group mastermind, because that's more of a brainstorming session in my opinion. That's not really a mastermind group. But we'll get into mastermind principles maybe a little bit further down the line. We'll go ahead and we'll set up a mastermind. We'll show exactly how they should work. But other than that, one more thing I want to point out to you. In the members only section, some of you have already seen it because I've gotten some comments on it, but I've added the Think and Grow Rich movie. The Think and Grow Rich movie is really good, really good. It's a feature-length film. It's like an hour and 45 minutes or something like that, but it's really high quality, really good. Now, I myself, I got it on YouTube. So for this, where it's posted, I'm going to tell you a little bit more as we progress here. But the one that I put in the members only area, I found on YouTube. The reason is, well, primarily, it won't fall under any copyright protection if it's uploaded to YouTube. YouTube has the responsibility to go ahead and check for copyright protection against everything that's on there, and should not allow individuals to view or share it if it's copyright protected. It should be taken down. So I don't know if it's copyright protected or not, but it's up on YouTube. I don't know how long it'll be up, if it will be taken down, if there is any issues. But again, that's the responsibility of YouTube. I would encourage you to go check it out. It really is good, especially if you don't want to go through all the bother of reading the book. You can get a lot out of watching the film. I myself, I paid for mine. I actually went online just last week, and I paid $17 US to watch the movie, because that's what they're doing. They're charging $17 to watch the movie. But I was happy to do it because, again, I'm a big fan of Think and Grow Rich. I tend to do anything I can to support it. But truthfully, I have to be 100% honest. I never even thought to look out for it on YouTube. After I watched it, after I paid $17, I did a search on YouTube, and I thought, oh wow, check it out. There's the exact same thing I just paid $17 for free on YouTube, and that's the one that I posted up on like I say, on the members only section. So if you go into the members only section, if you go under the personal development tools, and it's lesson number 13, you'll see it there, Think and Grow Rich movie. Don't know how long it'll be up. Hopefully it'll be up there forever. But I really don't know, because I really can't see how they're giving it away for free on YouTube. They're allowing people to just post it up there with no copyright issues. But yet you have people like me going online paying $17 to go ahead and have the privilege of watching it. So regardless, go ahead, and if not, I'm sure it'll be posted someplace else. Or, God forbid, spend the $17. Go out there and view it. But other than that, guys, we're going to wrap it up here. I hope you got some value out of this. I really do. And I hope you take me up on a couple things. Remember, I issued you the challenge to go in and to read the book and discover that secret. Tell me what you think that secret is. Get in touch, reach out to me. Let me know what you believe the secret of Think and Grow Rich really is all about. Because again, he mentions it over 100 times throughout the book. Each and every chapter talks about it. The secret, the secret. So go ahead and you tell me what you think that is. And also work on testing out the principles on your finances. Use it for one source, or use it for your business, or use it for your career, whatever you want to use it for. But specifically, try it out with your finances. Try it for next 90 days to really see if you can start making some improvement. Take those steps. The 6 steps, you can go back and you can watch this again. You'll know what the 6 steps are. You've been through it before with the purpose statement. But go ahead and commit to it, try it out. And other than that, we're going to wrap it up. As always, questions, comments, concerns, anything at all, you know that I'm always available. After I always allow a certain amount of time after these sessions to go ahead and make sure that I'm available if anybody needs anything. So other than that, guys, we're going to wrap it up. Wishing everybody a great evening. Appreciate you coming and hope to hear from everybody soon. All right. Cheers.